Howdy folks, this is Justro at Metcalf Mills. Typically I bring you Story Time Tuesday, but today it's going to be Update Time Tuesday because it's been since Thanksgiving since you heard from us. I appreciate y'all's patience, and here's your update on what's been going on with us here at Metcalf Mills. I want to dedicate this video to Tammy and Robert, who are God sent in our life, and we love y'all so much, and also to my wonderful sister, who means so much to me and the girls. We love you, sis. We love you, Tammy and Robert. I also want to send a special thank you out to my YouTube friends and family. Each and every one of you, I thank you with all my heart for going out on a limb, supporting my project, and doing everything you could to help it be successful. It is, it was, and it will be. And thank you all. The first thing I want to say is talk a little bit about my family, me and my two daughters. Y'all have become very close to us, and we've just been overwhelmed with all the love and care and kindness that y'all have shown through these comments over the time we've been here on YouTube. It's amazing. And me and the girls, we appreciate you so much. And I'm glad to let y'all know what's been going on with us, what we've been doing over the since Thanksgiving. And like I said, it's way overdue for an update, so I'll fill you in. And also, I want to talk about our Grain Mills for Communities project, where that's at right now, and also what's been going on with that in the meantime. But before, let the rooster have his say. But before we get to that, I want to tell you something funny that our precious Mama Ruth shared with us this morning, and she was one of the many blessings that came from our Grain Mills for Communities project. We got to know her and her husband through that, and they've been such a tremendous blessing to us. She shared something funny with me this morning. I wanted to share it with you. She said these folks were at these friends' house one night eating supper, and the lady held the plate up and she said, "Man, these plates are sparkling clean. How in the world do you get them so clean?" And they said, "Well, we just use soap and water." And she said, "Wow, this is the cleanest plates I've ever seen." Well, after the meal, when everything was done and it was ready to clean up, the lady calls, "Come here, soap. Come here, water. Come here." Their dogs was the plate cleaners. They licked them clean. Talking about the girls, they're both doing great. Charlotte started kindergarten this year, and as kindergartners do, she has brought home a lot of different bugs. And from what we hear, that's the case with pretty much everybody. There's been a lot of sickness. Seems like every week or every other week somebody was sick in our family. But anyway, everything's going good. Last year had the potential to be one of the worst years of my life. And y'all that have followed my channel know that because of the circumstances of the past year and a half. But anyway, it turned out to be one of the most wonderful years of my life. And I got to see a dream of mine that I'd had for many, many years come true. And I'll talk more about that later. To get back to the girls, Charlotte's doing great. She got two wonderful kindergarten teachers. We're so thankful for them. And it's been a blessing. She's doing great. She's learning, getting smarter all the time. And she's, you know her, I mean, she's such a sweetheart. Virginia, my oldest, she's doing great. She's getting more into big girl things, and she's got quite a bit going on, really. She's starting to pursue some interest, and that's working out beautifully, and it's turning into a great blessing for her. She's getting more independent, and like always, she's just a precious young lady, and I know y'all know that. Y'all have been so kind to my girls on our channel. You've done so much for them. You've sent them wonderful gifts and just talked about them in the comments, and I share all that with them, and they just light up. I want you to know how much it means to them. As for me, I've been pretty busy. I have had a kind of a different priority mindset in the last 3 months or so. After I give my life to the Lord, you saw that testimony video. There's been a lot of things in my life that I've re-examined and re-evaluated, and priorities was one of them. And there for a while last summer, I was working a lot with my regular work and doing videos, putting out a video every day for a long time, and working on the Grain Mills for Communities project, and I seen that was too much, and I had to scale it back. And what was too much is a lot of nights I'd work at the shop till after bedtime, and I'd go home and my girls would already be asleep. And I was doing that because I thought I needed to, and it did come to pass that it was fruitful, but at the same time, it was also a sacrifice. And, you know, my girls, they'll only be girls for so long. Virginia's almost an adult, which she is in most ways already, but she's an adult. She's not going to be my little girl forever, and she will be my little girl forever. Just don't tell her I said that. Charlotte's growing fast, and it's important that I spend as much quality time with them as I can right now, along with these other things. And my priorities are my Lord first, my family second, my work, and then YouTube. So YouTube, as you know, was not high on my priority list, and I've been working on a balance as to how I can remedy that. I mean, it factors in with my work, and I'm working on that. So I just took some time, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know how our last 2 years have been. This was really the first Christmas that me and the girls have had in 3 years because of things that were going on in the past. And 2 Christmases ago, my mom was really sick. We just about to lose her. And last Christmas, not this past, but the last, we had just lost my dad, and me and Virginia both was very, very sick. So this Christmas, I wanted to spend as much time and do as much with my girls as I could, in spite of we still had some sickness through the month of December. But we made the best of it, and we're thankful. I have been overwhelmed, and it was more overwhelmed with blessings than it was. Well, I've got a lot to do, you know that, but we've been just so overwhelmed with kindness and blessings, and I've just been trying to prioritize how to do things and what to do. I do want you to know that the Grain Mills for Communities project is more alive and well now than it ever was. Nothing has changed on that. The only thing is I've not been putting every single thing on YouTube. I've been doing a lot. I've been working. It takes a lot of time to record and edit videos, and I just didn't have that time, especially when I'm trying to allow more time for my daughters. But that project is going. I've been making progress on it, and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you on this video. But I really hate that I hadn't been in more contact with y'all, because y'all have become a family. Our subscribers, like I said earlier, it amazes us every day, the kindness that y'all have shown for us. And I'm back now. My plan was to be back on the first of the year, but we started out New Year's and the first of the year pretty sick. So here I am now, and I'll get on into talking about the Grain Mills for Communities project and give y'all an update on that. I'm going to explain a little bit about my past and my life, and it's not to get any pity. I want you to understand why this project means so much to me. and how it has became a way bigger thing than I ever dreamed it would. And I want to explain that to you. And like I said, I'm not telling you these first things for pity. I'm telling you so you have an understanding. If you don't already know my story, from if you're new or whatever, that's why I'm telling you. And for the other people, because I want you to see and understand what this means to me. My dad was sick most of my life. He had cerebral palsy, and he couldn't do a lot of the things for the last 20 years that most men did for their family and with their family. So I was always around close to my parents, and I lost both my parents, if you don't know, year before last. Lost them both in the same year. It was hard. And like I said earlier, this past year could have been one of the worst years of my life, because I devoted a lot of my life and time to taking care of my parents. The last year and a half, it got more and more and more, but the last year before last, it was pretty much a full-time job for me, taking care of my parents and then my dad. But the reason I'm telling you that is because I want you to understand, this past year, the Grain Mills for Communities project, for me, it made me realize, and let me back up. When this started out, I didn't know what a Kickstarter was. The fundraiser we got to help with the Grain Mills for Communities project, I didn't know what one was. Some friends said, you ought to do a Kickstarter. I said, what's that? It went on, and we got it going. And it was successful. It was blessed. The reason I'm telling you that Kickstarter, and my precious Mama Ruth reminded me of this the other day. The Kickstarter, she said she felt like that was God's way of reminding me that I was not alone. And that's exactly what it did, because when it was first brought up, I was not in favor of doing that. I've always done everything on my own, and I've realized that's a form of selfishness. I'm not sharing these things with anybody. I'm doing it all myself. Okay? So when we do this Kickstarter, these people just supported this thing. So much love, so much positivity. I don't have time on this video to tell you of all the wonderful blessings and the wonderful things that have came out of this, and how our lives have been blessed by so many people. This did, in a huge way, show me that you are not alone. There's so many people that care about your dreams, because my parents always supported my dreams and they were excited about it. And I had hoped that they would see my grain mill materialize and turn into a working thing, but it just didn't happen. It was just, I guess, not meant to be. But anyway, that's one reason why this Kickstarter meant so much to me. All these people that out of the generosity of their hearts donated to this. And if you don't understand what a Kickstarter is, Kickstarter was developed for like artists and people trying to do a thing that couldn't really afford to do it. So you show people and you tell them about your dream and what you're trying to do, and if they get enough interest in it, they will give you a donation as little as $5 or as great as whatever they want to support your dream. And in the beginning, what they got back was seeing your dream come true. That was a blessing to them, okay. My dream was building a grain mill. This had to go through the approvals process at Kickstarter. It had to be approved before it could even become a thing. I presented it, and it was tremendously blessed. And I'm forever grateful for everybody that supported and helped with that. Okay, I went over everything that I was going to try to do with this Kickstarter. This is not only producing a prototype of something of mine that don't exist yet, all that, and like I said, I've been dreaming about this for over 10 years, a long time, really longer than that. But the idea that has came to be was in about the last 10 years. Between the time the Kickstarter was completed, I had got something just a base made to show this is part of my dream, this is how it's going, this is a start, so that people could see. I'd said I was going to try my best to have something done by September. September 23rd, I loaded up my grain mill in the truck, went to Tennessee to the Back to the Land Festival. That was the first time that my mill was shown in public. I didn't even get to test it out, hardly any, before I took it over there. I told folks at the festival, you know, I'm surprised just like you are. I haven't had time to test this machine. It was, I don't know if you'd say a gamble, but it was a risk taking it all the way over there and not even knowing exactly what was going to happen. And I've had a lot of people that know say, you know, we're amazed that you did this so fast. And if you're starting up a business and getting a prototype, you can look at the statistics on that. It takes a while to do those things. But like I said, I'd been dreaming about this a long time. I like to go slow and think about things. I've not always done that, and when I didn't, it usually didn't turn out good, or it didn't work out good as it could have. Like the water mill that I built on my videos that I shared with you. That project took most of 2 years to do. I would work until I got to a point that I was not solid in how I wanted to do something, and I would stop and think about it until I was. This was building a water mill. I'd never done this before, a big working water mill. If you've not seen that video, go back and check it out. I'll put the link down in the description for that video. If you want to see it, you can. I think there's more than one. Anyway, when I got this mill done, doing it that way, there wasn't any belt run off a pulley. Everything worked perfect. I'm not bragging on myself. That was another dream of mine that I was blessed enough to do, and I applied myself and did my best, and I was blessed. It worked, and I'm thankful. And I give credit to me taking my time and not just going headlong into it. This man was paying me good to build his water mill. He was not paying me good to trial and error and make mistakes and then fix it. He was paying me good to build his water mill, and I didn't want to waste his money or his time or my time. And it worked out. There was not anything that had to be redone in that mill. It worked, and it worked great. I'm saying that to explain to you this prototype grain mill that I built. When I put it together, there was a couple little things I had to adjust and change, but it worked. I took it to several different festivals last fall, and it done wonderfully at all of them. It's still doing good. Okay. Well, as far as producing these things and sending them out to folks, I want to do that today. However, I've got this first mill. I had to test it out. I've tried to put as many hours on it as I could and as many bushels through this machine as I could. And if you've watched my videos, I was powering this machine off my pickup truck. So I'd go to a festival, go back and watch some of my videos, and I'll have it on again. You won't miss it, I promise. During a day, I tracked the mileage on my truck. Running my mill at a festival all day, there was about 70 miles that my truck had turned the wheel over the period of a day. So my mill, my prototype mill, has a lot of bushels that's went through it to test it, a lot of miles on it. And I say miles literally. It has miles on my mill, and it has quite a bit of time on it now. I wanted to be comfortable with this mill. I can't just build something and send it down the road. It takes time. This was all new, getting the Kickstarter ready. It was kind of a rush. And no, every detail was not thought out and thought through thoroughly. But it worked, it's going, and I'm progressing on. I've been making progress. It ain't all been on YouTube's, but I'm making progress, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so now, I've been gathering materials. I'm going to show you that, what I've got, and how that factors into this timeline. I want to say, on my Kickstarter, there were if you donated a small amount or a large amount, there were different tiers of something you get in return. There were timelines on those tiers. They were not met by me as far as sending out emails, and one reason some of the things were not met is because I have to have some meals put together before I can do those tiers. I can't give you something I don't have yet. And it was just a mistake of estimating time when that will happen. It will happen, just not on the time frame I originally thought. Another thing, the Kickstarter was not, I was not in control of that Kickstarter. I have not, to this point in time right now, I have never logged in to my Kickstarter. That was done by some friends. They did all that. All I did was make the video and give them information. I've never logged in the first time to my Kickstarter video. I got the information to log in a while back. When I went to log in, the password had been changed, and I've yet to log in. I'm working on that. Supposedly, sometime in the near future, I'm going to have all that information, all the folks that donated to that, so that I can reach out, send these emails, and thank them. My mindset was, when I get the meals to the point they need to be, to where I can fulfill all my tiers, that's what I was going to do. Sending emails, these folks knew where I was. They were, I'm sure, all familiar with my YouTube channel, because that's mostly how this thing was promoted, through YouTube. They knew where I was at. They saw my progress. I didn't have one person call me on not doing any of that stuff yet. Not one person. Okay? To catch up to now. When I get the information I need, I will get all the emails sent out to my Kickstarter supporters, personally thanking them. And the other tiers that I can complete right now, I will as soon as I can complete that. Like I said, I did not have control over that. I've never to this day logged in to that Kickstarter account to be able to do anything. I've not done that. It's not all somebody else's fault. It's partly my fault. But when I did go to log in, the password had been changed. I was blocked out. I've been trying to get what I need, a password, to get back in. I've not received that yet. I don't know that I will ever receive that, but I may receive information that I need from that account to be able to fulfill what I need to fulfill. The last thing that I want for my Grain Mills for Communities project is for any negativity to come out of that. This thing has been such a huge blessing to me and so many other people. I do not want any negativity to come out of this. So please, remember that and don't allow that to happen. Anybody that feels like you need to reach out to me and get an apology or an explanation, I'm here. My email is down in the description. There's been a couple people contact me in the last couple days, and I have gave them my phone number and talked with them. And after they spoke to me, they were happy, excited. I talked to everybody that supported this project. They're all super excited. They can't wait to see it keep progressing. And they've been so encouraging to me. So encouraging. Saying things like, Justin, you're our friend. We invested in this project because it was your dream and we care about you. We wanted to help you. It's just been a huge reminder of how precious friends are. A huge reminder, and I'm so thankful for that. I deeply thank each and every one that supported this in any way with all my heart. Thank you. And this will go on. It will progress. It will be successful. As far as materials, I've been gathering materials constantly, as I could constantly. what I'm saying is over the past months, I've been progressing. I'm going to give you details about those materials and how that affects things. Millstones, the last millstones I ordered, they're laying right here. The wait was 4 to 6 weeks. When I went to order millstones for the grain mills for a community project, I was told the wait is 8 months to a year. I had no idea. A lot of tombstones are going out. They're so behind. Everybody is. I've talked to a bunch of different people that had connections. The same thing, 8 months to a year. I have a huge millstone order placed. I don't know when it'll get here. I could not be told when it will get here. I have got a lot of necessary materials like wood, the steel parts, bearings. I have people that will help do things that I can't personally do here in my shop. They're excited to get started on that as soon as it happens. All this right here, it's white oak. It's a very good quality wood. This is a good grade of white oak. A lot of the parts that need to be a good, solid, tough, hardwood, well, this is what that will be made out of. This is a lot of money right here in this pile of white oak lumber. Over here, this is pine. It took me a while to find the grade of pine I wanted to use, and some of this will be culled out, you know. So I'll cut these ends off. Some of it will not be good enough to be used, but a lot of it will. These 6x6s, this takes time to air dry. These have been air dry in about 2 months. I would like them to air dry 6 months before I cut them up and build a mill out of them. And over here, I've got 5x5s and 4x6s for certain parts, different parts of the mill. That's another thing is why this takes so much time. This has to air dry. I can't use it and it green and it go down the road and dry out and do something crazy. Wood's always alive. It's always alive until it's gone because it changes with moisture in the air. It moves. If it's not dried out enough, it's gonna move on you. I don't want anything moving on my mill except the millstone and the shoe. Folks, right here is my dream. This is the working grain mill that I built. And like I said, I like to take my time and think things through. That is why this prototype, when I put it together, very minimal things I had to adjust, and it's worked perfect, and it's still working perfect. And I'm gonna keep putting time on it, and when the time comes, there will be mills coming out of Metcalf Mills. So about those millstones that I can't get when I ordered them, it was 8 months to a year. Well, what am I gonna do about that? What are you gonna do about that, Justro? I'm gonna show you. Every time I walk in my shop, this is what I see. 20 inch, 30 inch, 20 inch, 20 inch, 20 inch, 20 inch, 24 inch, 24 inch. This is the original stones that I invested in a long time ago. There's 2 sets of 24 inch, 2 sets of 12 inch. This is my investment way before Kickstarter or anything else. This is all my investment out of my own. I paid for all these. I have a lot of money in this right here, what you're looking at. This is my answer to not being able to source stones. Right here is 10 sets of millstones. I've got another 6 or 8 sets I can use if need be. Also, I have way more than I can tell you tied up in this project. I have hundreds of hours that I've not been paid for, and probably the only way I'm going to be paid for them is when I'm producing meals and they're going out the door. That's when I'll be satisfied and paid back for those hours. If this project is not successful, then I lose. I lose more than anybody, literally more than anybody. And I'm not going to let that happen as long as I'm breathing. There's never been a consideration of that. I've never once thought, well, do I want to go through on this project? Not once. It's been a dream of mine for many, many years. It's going to keep progressing. It's going to put grain mills in communities. It may not be as quick as I would like it to be personally, but it will happen. And you can watch it all right here at Metcalf Mills. And not only am I looking at these millstones every time I walk in the shop, they're looking at me, because if you've watched Metcalf Mills, you know that millstones have eyes. Something else I want to make y'all aware of. I have work that has came in when I was unable to work because of my family obligations. I've got restoration work that's still waiting on me. And with these materials and the time of waiting, and I can work that in and be able to complete that stuff, because that has to be done before I can start producing grain mills. And I'm getting it done as fast as I can. Another hold up on the restoration work was getting the wood for that. And the source for the wood for my new mills, I've got a very good source for really good pine. Thankful for that. That will provide the wood for all my restorations. So, folks waiting on mills, I'm still doing service work. I'm still dressing millstones. Had 2 mills go out of the shop this month. One was a restoration. Maybe I can show you a before and an after picture of that at the end of this video. And the other one was a service and a stone dressing. But anyway, things are going forward. This is how I have to do it. I have to feel right about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And we're going forward. Other things that I invested in for this project, my old welder only works when it wants to, and most of the time its schedule and mine don't line up, and that cost me some time. So I got a new welder. To make some of these parts, I have to be able to cut steel pretty accurately. I got a plasma cutter. As I told you when I was threading those bolts by hand, thanks to Mr. Danny, my buddy, I have to thread bolts because I can't buy the exact size bolts I need always. I got a little threading machine, not a little threading machine, a good threading machine to be able to do that. Another thing I need to do is have plenty of air, so I have an air compressor to be able to rough out stones and do any work I need to do with air tools. Of course, you know I don't do finished millstone dressing with air tools. I may experiment with it one of these days, but I've never done that before. But those are things I've invested in to make this project happen, and they were not cheap. Folks, if anybody has any questions or concerns for me, please reach out and contact me. If anybody needs anything from me, reach out, talk to me, let me know. I'll do whatever I can. I want to say thank you again for everybody that supported this project. I look forward to keep going forward with you. That's the only way we can go. It's the only way I know. I want to say thank you to all the people that have checked on us. I did not succeed in responding to every single email and message checking on us. I've tried, and I probably will get all that done eventually. But I do appreciate it sincerely with all my heart. Y'all are so wonderful, and we're thankful for you. And I wanted to leave you with a little thought today from my great grandmother, Cornelia Ball Metcalf. She said, "You can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from building a nest in your hair." Think about that, folks. This world's negative enough. Let's be positive and uplifting and helpful all we can. This is Justro at Metcalf Mills. I look forward to seeing you real soon.